Hi, Rachel. Welcome. Thanks for popping in. I almost closed the room down, so I appreciate you showing up. I wasn't quite sure if my energy was going to be at the right frequency to be in this room. Jennifer, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see you. Welcome to Rachel and Jennifer. I was just telling Rachel that I was perhaps not meant to be in this Clubhouse room today. I'm in a really interesting, expansive, healing, grounded, heart-centered space. And I wasn't sure if interfacing with technology was the best thing for me today, but part of me thought, what if I show up and just offer that container if someone needs it and someone needs to process something, or just show up today and learn about this trait. I just need to show up and see what happens and not be attached to any sort of room dynamic today other than just being an open container. So I just want to both invite you, if you would like to come to the stage, if you're in a space to speak, just wanted to connect here. And if not, if you're not in a space to speak, I probably won't keep the room open, only because I don't want to fill space with talking. I really want to hold the container for others. And I want to see who I'm attracting into this space right now. So I'm going to both invite you to speak and let me know if you're in a space to do so. There's also a chat option, which is brand new. If you click on the bubble, the talk bubble on the bottom left, if you're in a space where you can't do audio or speak openly on the stage, but you would like to share anything, you can also do that in the chat. So I'm just going to sit here for a second and see what we can make happen. Jennifer!
Hold on.
No problem.
Shoot. I'm printing something really quick.
Take your time. Welcome, Michelle. We're going to hear from Jennifer in just a moment. She needed to mute her mic, so welcome. Thanks for being in the space. And I'll just say really quickly, today is the 1-year anniversary of the Highly Sensitive People Club. That's why I decided to create a room for today. But I've been in a really interesting energy space. And then one of my energy healers in real life shows up in the room. So I just want to say I was open to miracles. I tested my growth and my ability to be that healer and energetic magnet. So I just want to hear, what's up with you, Jennifer? How you doing?
Hello, Julie. I saw this and I'm like, oh, I have a few minutes before my next appointment. And I'm like, I'm hopping on it because I haven't seen you forever. Even if I just see your smiling picture. Yeah, I would agree that the energy this past week has been it's hard to describe. Everyone that I see and hear and all of my clients they're not freaking out. Stuff is coming up and bubbling to the surface, and they're going, what the heck? I haven't thought about this kind of stuff in years. And for me as an energetic healer, it's stuff coming up to be healed. And I'm going to give you an example of that. um, when I was in college, just random stuff coming up. When I was in college a very long time ago, I graduated in 88. So this must have been in about 86. And my dad came to visit. He lived in California. And he's looking around my apartment, and there's like a chair, a lamp, and and a TV. And I had a bed, and I didn't even have a desk. I had a bed and a small table in my bedroom. And he's like, where's all your stuff? And I said, what do you mean, where's all my stuff, Dad? This is what I have. I'm working 2 and 3 jobs to put myself through school. Because at that time, when I was in high school, I was not living with either parent. I was living with my sister. And he wouldn't let me go independent. And because he's like, I need your tax deduction. I need your tax deduction. I'll help you. Don't worry about it. Well, he didn't help me. And so I struggled through, and I paid my own way, and I paid off. He's like, oh, well, since I didn't help you so much when you were in college, I'll help you pay off your student loans. Don't worry, don't worry. Well, he didn't do that either. But what happened was, what came up was after he kept saying, "Where's all your nice stuff? You should have some nice stuff like your sisters do." And I'm like, "Well, Dad, I'm paying my way through school. Every penny I make goes into textbooks or art supplies because I was a theater major and a design major, and and it went to room and board and things like that." And he's like, so what he did was he bought me all sorts of stuff. He bought me towels, he bought me clothes, he bought me bedding. He might be any furniture, but that's okay because I wasn't there very much. And I realized he did it out of guilt, not because he loved me and not because he really wanted to. He just felt guilty. And that guilt just washed over me, and that sadness just washed over me this week, and I it hurt, but I was so grateful that it happened, because that was an energetic block for me, because I was angry that he did it out of guilt. So all of that guilt and that anger just came up to be washed away. And it literally was washed away because that all was happening while I was taking a shower. So things like that kind of energy, that's all coming up and it's all ready to be released. So let it go because you don't need it anymore. So that's kind of what's been going on with my clients and myself and people all over the world. So that's I'm done. Thank you for letting me say that.
Thank you, Jennifer. I love that. And I think, it's interesting. I'm in a really deep processing state. I don't know how much time you have. Just let me know if I'm
I have a little bit more time. I'll tell
okay.
you when I have to go.
Well, what I'm experiencing right now is almost that gift of reflection of seeing where I was and where I'm at and what I've been going through and who I was in the past and where I've always been trying to go. It's like seeing everything at once. It makes me feel like I'm really old, like
Yeah,
I'm this
absolutely.
wise crow of like, wow, I can really dissect my life in a profound way now. And I've been so focused on loving kindness. It's no surprise to me that everyone left the room because, oh, then someone comes in. Hello, Julie.
Hello,
Um,
Julie.
I am just like so in tune with my energy. I am so in tune with the act of loving kindness that I am starting to see light and hope and just love in ways that I haven't been able to grasp over the last couple years, and even prior to that, going through
Mm-hmm.
chronic health conditions, and then just energetically feeling so weighed down in so many ways. And I knew that 222 was going to be big for me. I had thought about February 22nd, 2022, like for years, because 222 was a number I started seeing when I lived in New York. I moved to New York in 2002. I'll be celebrating my 20-year anniversary of when I left to move to New York in May. And so there's just all this, like, it's almost like that lifetime that I had between 2002 and 2022 is like slapping me in the face. And I'm just like
Mm-hmm.
forced to really like, where am I at now? Where am I going? And energetically, what world do I want to create? Because I'm seeing the world from so many different angles that I felt were pretty turned off for many of my recent years. So it's just really interesting. I'm not sad, but I've cried all morning. I don't know
Yeah,
if you noticed the sunrise this morning.
I
It
did
was
not. I was sleeping.
gorgeous. I went to bed like at 12:15, which is so late because I went to the William Elliott Whitmore show last night at the Englert, which was like the first time I've done that in over 2 years, where I would be social and do something that was like intentionally like go to an event and feel like I can safely leave the house. Like
Mm-hmm.
I am such a homebody, and through the pandemic it's just really compounded all of that. So it was like a foreign world. But anyway, I was up early as always, and the peach and the pink that was coming through my window with the shade down just made me get up and watch it. And then it started to rain. So we went from this like gorgeous sunrise, then it was like dark gray clouds, and then the rain went away and the sun came back out. And I was
Yeah.
like, that is exactly where I'm at. It's this level of roller coaster depth. And I just came to
Mm-hmm.
so much awareness in the last few days that I'm just processing that. It's not a negative thing, it's not a sad thing, but crying all the time because it's almost like I'm just cutting through straight to that hurt center, and I'm feeling all that stuff that needed to be released. That's
Yep.
what's going on.
Uh-huh. I would agree. It's been a roller coaster of anger and sadness and and all of that. It's like, oh, but once you're through to the other end, it's so much more expansive. So
Yes.
much more expansive. And it's like, whew, I've been doing so well. A friend gifted me she's also an energetic healer. She's one of my teachers and friends and mentors and clients, kind of all rolled into one. And she gifted me her ultimate body balance program, which is running every day. And I was like, whoa. So I'm doing an hour and a half of healing every day. And then like today, she did it this morning, and I'm supporting one of my students who's venturing into the workshop arena. So I'm attending her 4-hour workshop today. So that's more clear. That's more clearing. Then I'm doing my own. And it's like, what? So, I tell my clients, I said, you're going to go through periods of massive clearing in times like this, where the energy is going to force you to, and then you're going to sit back and allow yourself to integrate all that. So it just makes me wonder, are you in the integration phase,
Yes.
or are you in
Yes,
the,
that's the beautiful
yeah.
word. And that's so funny because a class that I'm starting on March 17th is called Integrated Systems for Empaths and Sensitives. Yeah. Are you kidding me? And
Can you
it's
send me
all
the info?
I will. And it's literally everything that I have been doing research and work on in the last 6 years of trying to figure out, quote unquote, what's wrong with me. And one person is delivering it. This woman is a chiropractor, autoimmune specialist, functional medicine layer of her education, and she specializes in somatic healing, so
Mm.
somatic trauma healing. And I found her through the Shift Network, which was the first place that I took my first HSP course. The first time I'd seen anyone talking about HSPs in a course was Julie B. Ellen. And I took her course in 2019. And then, through the pandemic, we went. But basically, this woman, when I saw her speak, I was like, she is going to help me. She is what I need right now. I'm so sick of doctors. I'm so sick of authority figures, whether it's government or therapists or doctors that claim to know all the answers. And yet we are giving our power away. We are not honoring our wisdom of our inner guidance system. We are not tapping into our energy, and we're slave to this capitalist patriarch bullshit. And I'm just done. I'm just done. And so I got my little closure messages this week, and now off I go. And so I just feel like it's one chapter done, new one coming in. And yeah, it's the integration of like all these epiphanies happening at once. And I'm just like, wow, wow, wow. Like I'm just sitting with that. And it's an integration period. You totally nailed it.
Well, and as a HSP, you are experiencing that on such a deeper level than most people would.
Exactly.
So we have a guest. Can you bring him up?
Oh,
So
would you like to come up on stage and say hello? I will invite you. Hello, is it Hitesh? Correct me, I'm not the best at pronunciation.
Yeah, hi Julie and Jennifer. Good morning. I'm Hitesh from India. You are correct in pronunciation.
Great.
Oh, hi.
Welcome.
Welcome, Fish. We're talking about highly sensitive people and all the energies that are going on right now.
Are you a highly sensitive person, or are
Okay.
you familiar with the term?
Yeah, I know sensitiveness, and every person has all the emotions uh, throughout his entire life, and sensitiveness is one of among them.
So, we're actually talking about a trait called highly sensitive person, or the scientific term is sensory processing sensitivity. So, we're not referring to the word sensitive as an emotion. We're actually talking about a trait that 20% of the population is born with, which allows us to deeply process our external and internal environments in a very deep way. So it's through our nervous system, not our feelings and emotions, that we're deeply processing the world around us. So I just wanted to give you that clarification on context of what that term means. So I'm wondering, does that sound like something that you experience, or?
Pardon, can you please repeat your question?
Sure. Do you experience the world in a very deep way? Do you process information deeply? Do you notice things that other people don't notice? Do you have a lot of empathy? This is different qualities of being a highly sensitive person.
Yeah, I'm being an empathetic from last couple of years, and I have been trying to be sensitive towards the things around me, like nature, animals, and peoples around me. Yeah, there are deep things which are inside me that uh, I can give you an example that a few days ago a tree was cut around me. So the lot of birds and used to come over there, and a lot of animals used to come near that tree. But the next day, animals and birds find out that the tree is no more. So I felt very much empathetic for all the uh, animals and birds and the people who have an association and a long memory with that tree.
I totally agree. That would pull at my heartstrings as well. And even just as you shared that, I am taken back to different memories I have of watching a neighbor cut down a very old tree. It had to have been over 100 years old. And just like you said, you're relocating an environment that different creatures were a part of, and even just seeing how my horizon looked different without that tree was just heartbreaking. So I have an affinity for trees, and trees are just so grounding to us HSPs. They are a treasure to be in nature, and to even just put your hand on them, hug them, connect to that, and think about those roots that have created a community and communicate with one another. I don't know if you've seen different findings of trees and how they connect and how they communicate and they work in collaborative ways. It's fascinating. So trees in general just are such a grounding part of nature, and can in turn give us that energy as well, that grounding energy. So it doesn't surprise me that you would connect to that. And that is the deep processing that HSPs do. We don't just see a tree that's cut down, we go into a deeper level of thinking around it.
Well, and after the derecho in
Oh
2020,
my God, those
I know
trees.
my neighbor's tree was taken out, and I still look at that spot where it was and go, what's missing? What's missing? So for those who don't know, a derecho is a weather event. It's an inland hurricane. So it had sustained winds, a storm traveling 7 states that had sustained winds of anywhere from 120 to 150 miles an hour. And where Julie and I live, it was the epicenter. So it kind of stalled out over our state and actually over several towns where we live, and took out 50% of our city's trees. So at least in Cedar Rapids it did. And it's sad, just the change in landscape without those tree covers, and the rise in temperatures because the trees and the leaves are not there. So it's just, I mean, in the whole storm, I just heard so much screaming, and it was the trees as they were being uprooted and torn apart and twisted apart. And yeah, it was, and that actually happened on my 24th wedding anniversary.
Wow.
So it was a very deep
Wow.
day. It was a very deep day. And so we totally get it, Hitesh, about feeling the loss. And highly sensitive people not only feel the loss of the tree and can feel that, it's the loss of the environment, and meaning the animals that lived in the tree or ate, use the tree as a shelter and things like that. So it's tough. It's tough sometimes being a highly sensitive person, because how do you communicate that? Like you're feeling everything, yet there are no words for the feeling, and the people who are not highly sensitive people aren't feeling what you're feeling, so they brush it off. And sometimes it's very difficult. I'm like, a lot of times I'll be like, did you feel that shift? Did you feel that change? Especially as an energy healer. And, the next person next to you is like, no, no. And I'm like, oh my God, they're screaming. So it's tough. So how did you experience the derecho?
Well, it was interesting because, Cedar Rapids is only 20 minutes away, 30 minutes away. And the difference between what hit in Iowa City versus Cedar Rapids was pretty profound.
Yep.
And we went up and basically drove around and just took phone footage. I mean, Jason was using his good stuff, cameras, and I would just see these wise old trees on top of a 2-story house with an attic, just uprooted. They weren't like, they didn't cut in half. The tree didn't break. They literally lost their root system and brought the soil with them. And it was just like rows and rows and rows and rows of trees.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were on top of cars. So there were just cars decimated with these giant tree trunks. Like you couldn't get through the streets. There were wires, live wires everywhere. And I mean, we were there and they still didn't have electricity like a week into that. People were left without any sort of like way to survive. It was a catastrophe.
Yeah. So Hitesh, we feel for you. We feel for you because we understand that loss. So hello, Yux and Brandon. Welcome to the room. We're talking about highly sensitive people and their traits, and Julie started this room a year ago. I can't believe it's been a year.
Well, it's a year for the club. I started actually holding rooms under the umbrella of Highly Sensitive People Unite because I wanted people who knew what the trait was to be able to find the room. This is back in the day when you really couldn't see the hallway in the way that you see it now. I mean, Clubhouse was still evolving. There was no search function. I mean, it was very prehistoric. Like in the beginning of 2021 when I first entered Clubhouse, but I just had an affinity for it right away because it allowed me to authentically connect, energetically connect with people.
Right.
And that's what I need for my sensitivity. That's my depth. is like, I'm not going to spend time on social media. I hate it. I got off it. I don't need to live in that arena, and I have synergy in person. And my energy, even as a sensitive person, I can gain energy from other people, and I can impact other people's experience in a healing way. I've always had that in me, but now that I have the scope of understanding, the education, the depth of my sensitivity, and the confidence, because I've been speaking about this for over a year now, I hold my space in a totally different way. And I feel so aligned to my sensitivity because I preach to everyone else, own it, own it, own it. Don't work against your biology. You need to, you know, channel that energy. You need to tap into your sensitivity. You need to see it as a superpower. And because I have that belief, I've stepped into that role, and I've become that educator and that advocate. And I have had the most wonderful miracles show up as I start to journey into the in-person world instead of the online world. And Clubhouse for me isn't going away, because it is something I don't even consider social media because of how you can connect on this app. Um, but it's just sometimes I have to also balance between technology and
Mhm.
the real world, because what the pandemic has done for us is really forced us to be online. And I'm trying to get offline. I'm trying to go back into my community with the knowledge and the awareness and the education and the advocacy fire that's in my gut, and tell the world about HSPs. And I am just attracting the most wonderful people who are willing to step into that fire pit with me and start a movement. And that feels amazing. So to be here 1 year later and to think back to where this club started as more of an education to bring awareness, and the energy that has shifted it through my personal transformation and the spiritual awakening I've gone through, and the energetic healing, and even just connecting with my community, my people, my fellow HSPs, and then developing relationships outside of the clubhouse with other HSPs who are like my rock. And I feel so grateful to have these people in my life because of this club. So I just wanted to honor today, March 5th, as that 1 year mark. And I feel like I'm here at a completely different level of who I am and who I am as a highly sensitive person. So I just wanted to celebrate that and see what kind of energy showed up today.
And look, we've had such a wonderful conversation already.
Yeah, and the fact that you showed up as my energy healer just totally was that nod that I needed from the universe, because I was like, I'm not sure if my energy is going to be at the frequency of people who will show up today. And it's been really interesting, because I feel a little bit out of this world right now. I don't really feel like I'm vibrating at
Mm-hmm.
a general population type of frequency. So
Yeah.
Brandon, I see your peace sign. Are you in a space where you can come up and join the conversation, or I will go ahead and mute myself and invite you up?
I mean, I get it, Julie, because it took me, well, I did have a healing this morning, but it took me like 2 or 3 hours to get out of the house because I was moving a little slow and distracted.
Well, and I have just been crying all morning, and like I said, it's not sadness, but just this overwhelming, reflective processing this life that I've lived, and then just like where we are in the world and how humans are connecting and relating. I did go on TikTok and I watched a few of the Ukraine videos, which I really haven't been able to watch because I just can't do that as a highly sensitive person. It's better for me to focus on grounding my energy and sending peace and love out to the world than it is to watch horrific scenes and like remain a little ignorant, but I did watch some YouTube today, and it is just horrifying that in 2022 we are still fighting wars, that we have freaking men that are in power abusing power and fighting wars like we're barbaric. It's like we have not evolved past this. This is something that's been heavy on my heart, and I don't want to get into a negative spiral or anything, but it's like seeing my life in the past 46 years and then seeing my evolution and how society has changed and how things were when I grew up to like how they are now. It's just there's a lot of change that the world has gone through in the last 46 years, and it's just I'm in that processing. Like you said, I'm in that integration phase.
Yeah, well, because you've already, well, this is a integration phase. It's not the integration. It's not
Exactly. It's
never
just
done.
another tier to level up. I don't know if anyone in this room has watched The Next Level Chef. It's like one of my favorite shows. So good, so good. And that's how I feel. Like I'm just leveling my consciousness, and I'm in that vibration of loving kindness, which has changed the way I see the world. And it's opened up in different ways that I haven't seen in a really long time. So just taking lots of deep breaths and really letting all this settle in and taking the time to process. And I love that about being an HSP is, you know, we're designed to process. We're designed to take in more information and process it longer. And that is such a gift, and it brings healing and it helps us level up.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I like what you said about we're designed to process, because for a long time, in my life, I did not allow myself the time. And I didn't have the time. I was going through a very traumatic, protracted traumatic period. So I didn't really have the time to step back and self care and allow myself to just take a breath, allow myself to ground. I mean, I had all my teachers and all my healers and mentors going, you need to stop, and just rest. I'm like, I can't, I've got this, blah, 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 and all this stuff going on. And now, now that I'm older, because I'm 57, now that I'm older, it's like, oh, I give myself that permission. Um, when I when I come home sometimes from a hectic day, I'll just tell my husband, I said, I just need to go be quiet. And quiet is meaning for me is being just going into my bedroom with all the lights off, maybe the fan going, and just be for 10, 15, 20 minutes. Sometimes hour at the tops, a half hour at the tops. But that's my way of giving myself permission just to process everything that happened. And then it doesn't get stuck in your body. And then you're not 10 years down the road going, what's this energetic block?
Exactly. Exactly. And like it's so funny because I do exactly the same thing when I have a long day. I've been around a lot of energy. I've been in the outside world. I just need to come in and process all that. It's like,
Mm,
and it's funny because I imagined you laying on your bed, like we put a phone to a charger. It's like the charging battery. It's like
yep.
we need to plug into something that allows us to download everything that we've processed. And so we are not overwhelmed. Our container isn't overwhelmed as we then continue to process. And the thing is
Right.
that people think, oh, we have control over what we can process. We are
Mm,
subconsciously processing. So it's
right.
not just what we choose to process, but we're subconsciously processing. That's why it's so important to be intentional with who you hang out with, what you consume, what you watch, because we are subconsciously taking all of that in. And processing time for me, just like you, I didn't give myself permission until I learned I was an HSP because I was part of that hustle culture. I was always self employed. So I always felt there was something that needed to get done and it was urgent. And that is how I lived up until age 40. And then I developed mystery symptoms, which then took me into a whole different personality type, which then led me to learn about this trait. So there is a gift in this journey of healing and of feeling broken or dealing with chronic disease or chronic pain. Pay attention inside now. I always think of that acronym when I hear the word pain. And so taking that time to lay down and pay attention inside in a dark room, no stimulation, no podcast, no music, just yourself and your energy and your emotions and whatever needs to come up, you can be with it.
Exactly. I mean, now that I have my own office, I'm not sharing a space with anybody. I have a biomat. When even when I'm online, because I do a lot of online networking, sometimes that's even too much. I'll turn off my light
Exactly.
and lay on the biomat, and that grounds you right away because it's far infrared heat. So that helps a lot too.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's just taking that break, and giving us, it's kind of that rebellion to capitalism. We're always told that we need to be going, we need to be producing, we need to be working. Otherwise, we have no value. So many people don't see themselves as valuable because they're not one employed or they're not doing work all the time. And they think if I take a nap or I slow down, I'm going to fall behind. I'm going to miss out. There's just that culture that is ingrained in us. And I'm here to say, take a nap, go lay down, slow down. And guess what? The action will come in inspiration.
Yep.
You will feel excited to move into action instead of forcing yourself into action. And that is the gift of being highly sensitive is I feel like we're easily able to close in on that veil of like receiving information, more of the feminine energy approach instead of being forceful and pushing and thinking that everything comes through what you're pushing around in the outside world. No, it's the inner energy and inner strength and inner guidance system that is going to propel you in a energy of love or an energy of feel good that is then going to be a ripple effect in that action that is going to feel good for other people instead of forcing through energy that feels competitive or I should do this or I need to push through my tiredness and do this work tired. No, that is exactly what HSPs are, here to do, is to show everyone we can actually get ahead in the world if we slow down.
Right. Right. Yep. Oh, are you still there?
I'm here. I was just taking a swig of my water. But
well,
you probably
for me, I hit my button.
Do you have to get off to your client here soon?
No, it's a workshop. I've got like 5 to 10 minutes. I just need to restroom and then I'm good.
Well,
so I will wait a little bit. So you'll have to come over sometime. I'm not that far. Well, it depends on where you live now. I don't remember. You've moved, haven't you?
I'm back in Iowa City. Yeah, I'll message you because I don't know where you're at right now either.
Well, do you know where Eastdale Plaza is?
Oh, you're still there. Okay, yeah.
No. I'm literally across the parking lot in the First Avenue building.
Okay, gotcha.
It's State Farm. I'm on the State Farm side.
Okay, cool.
And yeah, I'll let you lay on the biomat for a little bit.
That would be awesome. I've never tried those. I've read up on them. I know that they're, made for grounding purposes, but I've never tried one myself. So that's cool.
You have to come on over. Yeah, let me know.
Well, I'll definitely reach out after this room, but I'm really happy and satisfied that I opened the room. I'm so glad that we were able to connect. Maybe that's what I needed to do. It's so funny because I'm so intentional about being in the community again after like just this last couple of years and just with the work that I want to do. And I'm just ready to people again. And I hold this room thinking, okay, let's see what kind of energy I bring in, and I bring someone local. So again, that just like blows my mind. So I just, and obviously energy wise, it's just, I think, yeah. So this room was great. I'm going to definitely close it down now just so I can be in this energy and just take care of myself in a way that just feels like, more processing time and integration time, like you mentioned, and just let myself kind of wander today because it's been a really intense week and in a lot of good ways, not necessarily bad, but it just a lot of depth.
Yes. Go process. I'm going to run it.
All right.
Look over my book and jump into my workshop.
Beautiful. Well, you enjoy that, and I'll definitely send you a message, and I'd love to check out your new space and that equipment. That sounds amazing. So thank you for that.
All I ask is you bring some music and some headphones.
I've got that. Yep.
Okay.
No problem.
Well, we'll let you bliss out on the biomat.
Yay! Thank you.
All right. Love you.
All right.
Later.
Love you. Bye.